Hi, it's Derek. Let's talk about Samaritan Ministries and maternity needs. If you haven't watched the disclaimer video yet on this channel, please do that first. I appreciate that very much. Does Samaritan Ministries share maternity needs? Yes. There are some different parameters that you want to be aware of. If you're already pregnant and thinking about joining Samaritan Ministries, there is a separate video on this channel for you to watch regarding pre-existing maternity. So please watch that if that's you. The two qualifications initially for a maternity need being shareable by Samaritan Ministries and their members is one, there need to be at least two people in the household on the membership. That could be husband and wife, that could be wife and a child, but Samaritan Ministries looks at it as a family need rather than an individual need, and so they do require that at least two people are on the membership in order for the maternity need to be shareable. That may not be exciting for everyone. For a lot of people, it works just fine, but for others, if a spouse has insurance through work, that kind of thing, you still have to have two people on the membership. Of course, a spouse can be on Samaritan Ministries and have insurance at the same time, since there is no insurance whatsoever involved in what Samaritan does. So that is available, but you would have to pay the monthly share amount for two people. So that's the qualification number one. Qualification number two, and this one is maybe a little bit lengthier to explain, but basically your given due date for that first baby after you join would need to be 270 days or more after your start date as a member with Samaritan Ministries. This does not mean you have to conceive 270 days or more after you join, but the given due date would need to be more than that, or that amount or more, in order for it to be shareable as a maternity need. So just as an example, if you have, let's say you join Samaritan Ministries March 1st, and then you find out late April, early May that you're pregnant, and then your doctor gives you a due date of December 3rd, let's say. Well, March 1st to December 1st, roughly, without doing the numbers, is going to be around 270 days. So you're going to be in the clear with that December 3rd due date on that one, if that makes sense. But that is the criteria, more than 270 days after your start date. This could possibly mean that if you conceive right after you join Samaritan Ministries, like within that first couple of weeks, it is theoretically possible that your due date is less than 270 days after your start date with Samaritan. So you want to be aware of that possibility. So you heard it here first, or maybe not. But that is the criteria, those two things. And then as long as that's the case, now you're looking at whether you're in basic or classic. And I will unpack that in a moment. But generally speaking, maternity expenses are shared. So that means that your prenatal care, that would be maybe your prenatal visits, your sonogram, your blood work, all of those things, and then of course labor and delivery, all included as a part of that overall maternity need. So it's all one need with Samaritan. Okay, the maternity, the Samaritan doesn't look at that as individual bills. They would look at that. I mean, they don't look at the individual bills and call the bill itself a need, but the whole need is one, and therefore any initial amounts that are unshared, which I'm going to talk about here, apply to that entire need once. So if you're in classic, and Samaritan has two levels, basic and classic, there's another video for you to watch regarding those differences. But effectively, if you're in classic, you have an initial unshared amount for that one particular need, whether that's a broken bone, a heart attack, or maternity, of $300 at this recording. That's how it's set up, and it's been that way for a while. So you have $300 of that entire need that's unshared. So if all of your maternity expenses, prenatal care, all the stuff related to it end up being $8,000 as an example, $7,700 is what is shareable. It's what Samaritan is assigning other members to send to you. And then you, of course, turn around and pay all your own medical expenses. You're a self-pay patient as a member with Samaritan Ministries. No insurance, Samaritan doesn't pay the bills. But that's the idea. $8,000 maternity need, classic member, $7,700 shared. Move over to basic. This is not nearly as good of a situation for maternity. Now, a lot of couples, especially young couples, will be attracted to basic because maybe finances are a little tight, and the monthly share is a lot lower, and so it might seem that lower monthly share is the way to go. But if you're looking at maternity, it is going to be a lot different in that there is an initial amount not of $300 unshared, but of $1,500. But then beyond that, there is a $5,000 maternity cap. So that means that if your bills are $8,000 for maternity need within basic, Samaritan is only going to share $5,000. Maybe it's a C-section and the bills are $18,000. Samaritan's still going to share $5,000 if you're a basic member. So that's where the cap is. It's not a hard cap. There is some sharing available after the bills exceed $20,000 again and go up to the $250,000. But that is for most couples, at least the way it is for most couples right now. They do stay under $20,000 in medical expenses, and so that is where basic is maybe not the best option. Now, for folks doing a home birth, basic may be a very good option with that $5,000 maternity cap, but you do want to be aware of the limitations, because if the home birth ends up going to a hospital birth because of an emergency or whatever, you're looking at a lot more in bills, and so that is basic versus classic on maternity. I recommend classic for most couples, even though it is more expensive per month. It is an absolute slam dunk. And of course, if you have more than $300 in discounts as a classic member, you're wiping out your initial $300 amount, having the entire thing shared. My wife and I, with the maternity expenses we have had as members over the years, have had everything shared, nothing out of our own resources for those needs, because we had more than $300 in discounts. So very exciting. Samaritan's maternity guidelines are very generous. They're much more generous than they were several years ago when my wife and I started. And so I highly recommend it, but you do want to be aware of the criteria I mentioned earlier here. I hope that's helpful to you. Visit joinsamaritan.com if you have some more information, or watch some of the other videos on this channel. And there's also a link for joinsamaritan.com in the description of this video. And if you like these videos, please subscribe. Thanks so much.